welcome back. If we haven't met, I'm Lindsay at Resistance Free Parenting. Thanks for coming and spending a bit of time with me. I want to chat to you today about deschooling. Let's check on recording. Yeah, we're good to go. Okay. Just imagine me sitting talking to myself for an hour without checking the recording button was going. So I hope life is treating you really well wherever I'm finding you, whatever's going on with you today. It might be that you are seasoned home editors. It might be that you're considering going into the world of home ed. Wherever I find you, I hope that this is going to hold something which is a nugget, maybe even a treasure for you today. And I just want to go on an exploration. And as always, invite you into your own inner knowing and your own sense of contemplation. I just want to hold that space and share that space with you. Always on my own inner journeying and growing. And I love to be in space with you to do that together. So it may be that, like us, that you have or are going to be the family that has not been in education, that you have consciously chosen that path to not be in the traditional education stream. It may be that you have tried or are still trying mainstream school and you're finding that it's not a good fit for you as a family or specifically one of your children or young people, and maybe you're considering your options. So when you go into the world of home education, or you might find the terms homeschooling, it depends where you live in the world and what it is you're looking at. But the terms are used in a lot of interchangeable ways, so I don't want to get caught up in definitions. But you may be considering or entering into a stream of education for your child which is not via the automatic path. And that holds a lot for you as a parent to consider, to work through, options to consider, yes, but also feelings and emotions that arise, questions that come through. And so I want to touch on all of those things, but maybe with a slightly different lens on because of the work I do. So I'm mum to one daughter, and we have chosen as a family to be what I would now categorise, if I need to give it a name, as radical unschoolers. So unschooling is one of the options available as part of the home education path. Unschooling means that you are not tethered to any particular system or curriculum or schedule. It's more about following the lead of your child and the lead of your children and your family as an integrated system, and looking at learning in a holistic system. So learning is not something done in isolation, so taking a subject or a particular focus. Learning is something that comes through life. So we understand this really well from when children are young and they play. And we see that as our little toddlers play, that they learn social skills, they learn maths, they learn language, and different processes come through this wonderful concept of play, which is using mind and body, and is integrating all the senses. And so much learning comes through that you couldn't possibly break down and categorize and measure. And it comes through in a place where we are relaxed and open and curious about life. And I like to think that in our home education path as a family that we make an attempt to keep that place of openness and curiosity and creativity, and see where life takes us. So there are all kinds of options that you might be looking at, from alternative school provisions to flexi schooling to online learning to the other end, like I was just sharing about radical unschooling. And so this video has got something for everybody. It doesn't really matter what the choices you're making. But the very fact that you are choosing something other than the automatic path that's dictated for you in your area where you live, that, you know, the system that's that the majority of children are following, means that you have choices to make, and there's lots to think through and feel through with that. And if you haven't come across it already, you will absolutely be invited by your home education communities, wherever you find those, online often. Some people have local ones too. And you will be invited into this process of deschooling. So deschooling is something which parents and primary carers to these amazing children and young people going through this process are really encouraged to walk through, where we are essentially deconditioning. We are letting go of our beliefs, our ideas, the constructs that we have taken on from our community, society, family, our own, school or education process, about what education looks like, what it means, how it's done. And it starts with looking at coming out of the school system, but that really is just scratching of the surface of what this whole process is. And we start to look at the way that there's a big noise outside, sorry about that. The way that learning happens in terms of time and relationship and all kinds of things. And as an energy therapist, I want to invite you into the space of deschooling in a whole new way, on a whole new level today. And this is really in the release, the letting go, the moving through of so much stuff that we hold as parents, and really touch on an invitation for you to start the process of considering what you really believe about education, what it is, and how it unfolds, and why it matters, and where it's leading, and what your place and your responsibility is in that as a parent. And I don't have any answers for you, I'm sorry to say, for those of you who are coming hoping I'm going to tell you. This is an invitation for your own exploration. And I really invite you to come into this foundational place, this core place, to begin your journey of deschooling. Because it's really only from having the firm foundation of what are we looking to achieve here that you can make decisions about what's going to be best. Otherwise, you're doing it upside down, inside out, So you really need to take some time with great self-love and compassion about where you find yourself now, and ask, what are we looking to achieve? And actually, that might be the first time you've ever stopped and asked that, because we so easily get into the funnel of society's expectations about the education process that we might never actually stop and ask, what is it we believe about life, about a person growing up, about where they're heading, about what the timeline is that I expect to see unfold, what the results are I'm looking for, and it's really important to sit and to churn on that a little bit and digest that, metabolize that. So you've really got this sense of foundational place of what is it that I am now, not only as parent, but as primary educator, holding expectation for, holding responsibility for, holding guidance? And actually, it's really important, because I know that a feeling of real overwhelm can come in that, because we suddenly can feel the weight of responsibility of those choices. It's really important to remember that we always held that role. We always held that role. But we can have a false perception. We can have, this idea that we're not the one sitting in that responsibility seat because we're following that path. And we can say school's responsible for that, or whatever the education path is, that person, that structure, we give that responsibility to that unconsciously. But as the parent, we are in fact always responsible for that decision. And that isn't something we need to hold heavily. I can really feel the potential of the weight of that. And I invite you just to acknowledge that and really release that and come into this with a lightness, because parental responsibility is something we're here with all the time. It's what we do. Once you have a kid, here you are, being responsible, doing your best, being imperfect, making choices, making decisions, some of them conscious and some of them not. And we're all doing the best we know how. And it's okay to revisit, to reconsider, to change our mind. It's okay to change path. And I also really wanted to say, I did some work years ago before I had my daughter, working with schools, training parent support workers to go into schools. And they were really working between the school and the parent as a bit of a bridge. And one of the things that we really shared with the parents is that all the findings, all the statistics show that by far the biggest influence on the outcome of children and young people in all the things that we measure in educational outcomes, by far the majority difference is to do with the family unit and not the place of education. So actually, whatever path we're choosing, even if it's school, this is a relevant conversation. Looking at our place within our children's education is always really important. But this deschooling conversation comes into a real depth because we are making choices that maybe we don't feel very informed about, and maybe we don't feel very well supported in. So one of the places that we really need to start is giving ourselves time and grace and space to stop, to breathe, to gather, to consider. We want to rush, we want to have, I hear all the time, I'm going to change, I'm going to start flexi-schooling, or I'm going to start home editing, and I need to have a plan. I need to have a plan. And what I really want to invite you into is actually the plan being, we're going to take time to breathe, we're going to take time to rest, and for most situations we're going to take time to recover, because most of you that are moving from being in the formal education system to coming out of it are doing so because something wasn't working. And I don't say that out of criticism. I have no attachment to whether or not you choose school or home as an education process. I want our children and young people to feel happy and supported in their learning environment, and for it to be enriching. And that is in my heart, and I'm sure everybody feels that. But I'm not attached to where that comes from. But I am mindful that who I'm speaking to here, many of you are going to be coming into home ed because you have tried school and it's not working for that particular child or young person, or you as a family. And so there is going to be something to recover from, whether that's emotional, a mental state, a physical recovery of burnout or illness, or whether it's a change in circumstances that you're experiencing in your physical abilities or in your financial abilities or where you're living, or, you know, life situation, family makeup, all kinds of things. Maybe you just need a bit of space to land where you are and allow any healing and recovery to come into that space. You know, think of it as like just a holiday, or what do they call it when you go into a home after, like a convalescing time, you know, a time of gentleness and warmth and connection. How do you make your environment around you, physically and emotionally, supportive and nourishing and taking the pressure off all of you? All of you. You know, really reminding you as the parent to take that pressure off of yourself. Because I think so often we put extra pressure on ourselves when we see our children and young people under strain, because we want them to feel better. And so we have to do everything to give them that opportunity. But they feel that tension in us. We can't really hold space for us to move forward as a family unless we all recover. Our nervous system needs lots of recovery. If you haven't come across my work before, my favourite technique that I love to share as an energy therapist is emotional freedom techniques. You might know it as EFT tapping. We tap on acupoints on the face and body like this. And it really works with the nervous system, soothing and calming it. And it really works with the amygdala, that part of the brain that sends out the fight, flight, freeze, fawn response, to soothe and calm the system. So it can be a really supportive way. It's a self-help technique, so you can pick it up and do it yourself. And it's really easy to learn and really easy to do. I run regular free tapping tasters on Facebook, so you can come and join that and learn how to do it with me if you feel aligned with that energy. So it's a really lovely technique to come and work with your nervous system as you are coming into this place of calming and restoring and resting. And I can't emphasize enough, whatever time you think that's going to take, it might take double, triple, quadruple or more. People think that they can, you know, especially if we've been in the system of the school, people think that a holiday looks like whatever that system is. And even society, you know, the Western culture I live in, we think a holiday is a week or 2 weeks, or maybe if we're really generous, so I don't even know what a school summer holiday is now, but several weeks, you know. And healing and recovering our nervous system, our emotional body, our relationships can take a really long time. Our body and our mind need to feel safe, and it takes the time it takes. And if we try and rush that, if we try and push that process, we just interrupt the process and it sets us back, and it just ends up taking longer. So give yourself the time it takes, you know. And if, for those of you, I know I can hear you screaming at me, but I have to justify, I have to give a report, I have to, you know, tell so-and-so in the LA or whatever your, you know, authority is you have to speak to, you know, just allow that to be part of your feedback. Actually, remember the expert that you are on your child and acknowledge that they have physical, mental, emotional burnout, or at the moment the focus needs to be on the trust in our relationship and cultivating a safe environment at home so they can lean into their learning in that safe environment. Voice these things. You know, it's okay to speak where your priority is right now, and feel that in your body, feel that in your foundation, you know, really allow yourself to relax into that. Remember, this is my focus right now. It's not on our maths, it's not on our science, it's not on exams. You know, it's okay for the priority to be on healing, creating a beautiful, nourishing environment, restoring our relationship, being in conversation, contemplating what we want to head towards might be a part of that, but it's actually the step beyond. Okay, let's just feel well now. Let's recover. Let's regather ourselves. So I really want to invite you to take time in that space. And when you start to notice the healing that's coming up for attention, there might be a lot more there than you realised. And it might be in your children, young people, but it also might be in you. And so I really want to honour that and invite you to honour that. Because when we are dealing with a system that hasn't felt like it has worked for us, and it hasn't felt like it's supported us, you know, there can be a whole lot that we've held in our nervous system, in our sense of trust in relationships, in our sense of trust with professionals. You know, it can really take its toll. And so I want to remind you that your healing is part of this journey too, not your children and young people on their own. You know, we're a unit that move together. So your healing matters here too. So there are spaces that you can connect. You know, there are online spaces for other people who are home editing. A lot of local areas have home education groups. Some of you will, and some of you won't be able to access those depending where your children are at. You know, it doesn't work for everybody. But there are different ways to find your community, to find your tribe. But I really want to acknowledge how hard that can be. It can be really hard because it's something you have to consciously do, consciously find, and it takes time. And it can feel really scary, and it can feel really isolating. So let's honour those feelings that come up too. I feel scared and I feel isolated. I feel on my own and I feel lost. And on top of that, we may or may not have support from our partners, from our extended family, from our friends, from our, you know, our groups that surround our family that may or may not be in school or, you know, other things themselves. It can be really jarring. So it's a beautiful time of expansion and growth and really consciously choosing what you want moving forward. But it leaves a void which you have to sit in right now. And that's hard. And so I just want to send you lots of love in that and acknowledge for you that that is normal. And it won't last forever, but it's okay that it feels hard and scary right now. And I want to reach out with an offering without it being like a sales pitch. And so there's me trying to find my words to do that. But I want to speak for you that my contact details are with this video. If you are looking for somebody to walk with you in a professional, you know, support role as you move through this space, you know, if it feels like that matters to you and you haven't found those spaces in your community in some way, I want you to know that that offer is there. And that's my what's it called, the essential oil humidifier beeping there, sorry about that. And so I'll make sure my email is with this video, and if you want to reach out, I do some limited online sessions for parents around my family dynamic opportunities, evenings and weekends. I'm in the UK, so my time, sort of evenings and weekends, I'm able to make some spaces to do video online sessions where I work with people in their deconditioning and their deschooling journey as a part of that. Sometimes that's sometimes what people connect with me for, and using energy therapy and holistic tools and emotional freedom techniques is one of those ways that I can show you how you can walk through this journey by supporting your nervous system. But a big part of that is as we go out of our triggered, dysregulated state ourselves, and we go into the calm, natural state of our well-being through a technique like emotional freedom techniques, we're able to feel more open to our guidance and our inspiration and get more in touch with our higher thinking and ideas, and feel more ready and open for connections. And so it can be that pivot that helps you lead you onto other resources and other opportunities too. Yeah, so if you'd like to reach out, please do that, and I can let you know. I do offer very generous discounts on my services to those who are my, you're my people. You're my people, you home editors, or some of you found my work because we have a daughter who's autistic, and I run a group for other parents who, like me, have children who are autistic with pathological demand avoidance, PDA, and I have Facebook communities for that, so some of you are in those spaces. Whatever your connection is, do just ask, and there's never any pressure. I'm always happy to have a discussion with you about the opportunities I have and how I can support you, and you can feel into whether that's right for you. Okay. I think the biggest thing I want to say about the deschooling process is, for me, it's such an incredible, powerful window of opportunity for everybody in the family to really sit and look at, what are my deep beliefs? What are my deep values? What do I see as abundance, as success in life? Where do I feel my sense of direction comes from? So this opens up a lot of seeking and searching in us as parents. The big questions. And I really want to invite you into staying with that, being courageous, and staying with that, because there's gold in that for you. There's absolute gold. And I really believe that our children and young people have an incredible, powerful inner guidance system that will light their way for them. And the more that we can do as parents to be there, to love and support them and uplift them as they make their choices, but as much as possible, keep out of their way by clearing out our own stuff, the more favours we do them. And what I mean by that is really getting conscious of what our values, our beliefs, our ideas are, and when we allow ourselves to start letting go of that stuff, we make more and more space for them to find the magic of their own life, their own guidance. The more we find that we can trust our inner guidance, the more space we can hold for them to trust their inner guidance. And then we can move through life in this beautiful relationship, intertwined, but being led by self, going inside rather than looking to external resources, external opinions. There's so much around us coming at us all the time. So much of it we're so used to that we don't even know it's coming at us. It's so familiar that it's become internalized until we start clearing out the internal closets, really. There's so much. Gosh. So if this is speaking to you and it's found something for you, I'm really glad. Thanks for coming and spending this little bit of time listening to my thoughts on the deschooling process. If you have anything you'd like to share with me, ask me, me, but also us as a community, please do pop it in the comments. The videos I make here at Resistance Free Parenting are not all relating to deschooling or anything to do with education, but they all relate to what I'm talking about today. Deconditioning, living life with the incredible freedom that is our birthright. The freedom of not having to resist life by being in a state of calm and open curiosity to life and finding our own path and finding our own sense of empowerment and really uncovering what is deep down about the truth of who we are and what lights us up and where our purpose is in life and what we want from our relationships and all that amazing juicy stuff. Okay, my loves, please take really good care of yourselves. Receive this love that I'm sending to you. I know what a big journey that you're on receiving this video today. You wouldn't be tuning in if it wasn't a big part of where you're at right now. And so this is a big and really exciting time, full of wonder and opportunity for all of you. And I'm really getting tingles as I tune into that sense of excitement, possibility and opportunity, which is waking up in you right now. And I know that I'm saying that, and some of you feel like that's coming to you in a place of crisis and despair. I know that, and I don't want to make light of that. It might be that healing is really where you're at right now, but that is still a really incredible opportunity that you have chosen. Even if it feels like your hand's been forced, you have said yes to it and opened up this incredible new opportunity in your life. And I want you to grab it and squeeze every ounce of goodness out of it, because you deserve it. All of you deserve it. And you are really opening up something really special for yourself, for your family, and the ripple of that effect that has out around you, you know, in your community and in the world at large, is something really special that I hold really as a special place in my heart. So thank you for your big part in that journey. All right, lots of love. Bye.